Welcome to part 8 of Let's Play Sword of the Samurai by Mark Smith and Jamie Thomson. At the end of the last part, I was on paragraph 292. Let's reread this as a reminder. You must fight the die Oni. Whenever it hits you, you lose 2 stamina points as in normal combat, but also roll 1 extra die. If the result is 1 or 2, turn to 90. If the result is 3 or 4, turn to 102. If the result is 5 or 6, turn to 118. Die Oni, skill 10, stamina 10. If you win, turn to 74. Okay, so we're fighting the die Oni. Okay, and we also have EI Jutsu, fast draw, which means we always strike first, doing 2 stamina points of damage. Okay, so we're fighting the die Oni, and we get the first hit in, of course. Okay. So skill 10. Whoops, that was not right. Skill 10, stamina 10. And it immediately goes down to 8 because of the fast draw malarkey. Okay, okay, so its skill is 10, so 10 plus 7 is 17. I get 23, so 17 to 23. Puts it down to 6. Okay. 10 plus 4 is 14. I get 16. So 14 to 16. Puts it down to 4. Okay. 10 plus 7 is 17. I get 20. So 17 to 20. Down to 2. Okay, 10 plus 2 is 12. I get 23. So 12 to 23. That means the die Oni is dead. Good. Okay, so that's that. I'm immediately going to use some provisions. Don't forget, it doesn't say I can't use more than one at a time. So I will use 4 of them. I will completely gorge on provisions. Now I'll use 4, which puts it down to 6. 6, oh no, 4 4s are 16, so that will put my stamina up to 21. So that's now up to 21. Good. Okay, whoops, didn't want to do that. Where am I? There we are. Okay, so we won and we're turning to 74. You have finally defeated the die Oni, and it lies at your feet in the sand of the arena, breathing its last. The ghostly crowd fades away, and the arena is empty. The die Oni whispers painfully to you. You have won, mortal. The laws of the tyranny of the plains set by the gods bind me like fetters of steel. Now I must grant you one request. The magic of the die Oni it's difficult to read this, sort of blurry. The magic of the die Oni fades a little with its defeat. You may restore 1 point of skill, 1 point of luck, or 2 points of stamina if you lost any of these in your battle. What will you ask of the die Oni? Okay, what shall we restore? We don't need any luck or skill, so that's annoying. I wish I hadn't used all those provisions now. Never mind, it's done now, so I'll just use the 2 points of stamina and put myself up to maximum. Okay. What will you ask of the die Oni? What is the secret of singing death? Turn to 206. How do I slay Ikiru, Master of Shadows? Turn to 188. Help me in my quest to slay Ikiru. Turn to 150. Okay, we're going to ask what is the secret of singing death and turn to 206. Now, the die Oni screws up its face in pain and rage. Curse you, mortal. The secret is harmony. Utter that word, and singing death will come to life and fly into your hands, but only for those of noble heart, which is why Ikiru has been unable to use it yet, he adds with a laugh of malicious glee. Then his body dies. If you have a jade amulet fashioned in the shape of a tatsu, turn to 220. If not, turn to 270. Okay, okay, so I'll just write secret of singing death is harmony. And we don't have the Tatsu thing, whatever. We don't have the Jade Amulet, so we're going to turn to 270. Whoops, there we go. A terrible thing happens. Out of the body of the Dione, a spectral shape coalesces, a ghostly form of the demon with insubstantial taloned hands. It is a Shura, or warrior ghost, the spirit of the Dione come to avenge its death. You must fight the Shura. When it hits you, you lose stamina in the normal way, but there are no wounds. It is draining your strength. Shura, skill 9, stamina 8. If you win, the Shura simply fades away. Turn to 76. Okay, so Shura 9, 8. Now we're fighting that. Whoops, need some more of these, don't I? Yeah. There we go. Okay. Shura 9, 8. There we go. Oakley dokley. Right, so 9 plus 4 is 13. I get 22, so 14 to 22. Down to 6. Oh yeah, of course, I get the first attack in because of the fast draw, don't I? So that puts it down to 6. Then this attack round puts it down to 4. Okay, good. I nearly forgot that again. 9 plus 8 is 17. I get 23, so 17 to 23. Puts it down to 2. Whoops. 9 plus 3 is 12. I get 24, so 12 to 24. Puts it down to 0. There we go. Okay, that's the end of that. So now we're turning to 76 because it's faded away apparently. Okay. The walls of the arena begin to shimmer, fade, and dissolve away. Something else happens in its stead. Something else appears in its stead. A black, dark place. You are at the end of a long, pillared hall of black marble. Braziers of glowing coal give off an eerie glow, and shadows flicker and weave, chasing one another across the floor. At the end of the hall is a huge pit, from which noxious fumes spiral upwards. Beyond the pit is a grotesquely carved throne of dull stone. The workmanship is extraordinary. Peaks, pinnacles, gargoyles, and strange twisted shapes adorn it. The effect is to wreathe the throne in shadows. You can just make out a cowled figure sitting upon it. It seems to be staring at something in front of the throne. On a stand before the throne rests a magnificent Nodachi, a two-handed sword in a scabbard of bright filigreed gold. It seems completely out of place in the hall of shadowy gloom. Where's this sword? I can't see it in the picture. No, never mind. It seems completely out of place in this hall of shadowy gloom and brooding evil. You recognize Singing Death, the sword of the samurai, and your heart is uplifted. Then the cowled head jerks up in surprise. Beneath the cowl there is nothing but blackness. A sibilant whisper hisses forth, a quiet exhalation of breath. Who dare visit Onikaru, the pit of demons, and incur the wrath of Ikiru, master of shadows? If you know the secret of singing death, turn to 152. If you do not, turn to 94. Okay, there we go. Lovely picture. Okay, we do know the secret of singing death. It's harmony. So 152, here we come. Without hesitating, you shout harmony as loudly as you can. The sound echoes like a trumpet blast through the quiet gloom of this hall of shadows. Through the quiet gloom of this hall of shadows. Ikiru recoils in horror on his throne. No, he rasps, a sound like chalk screeching on a blackboard. A blaze of light erupts from the sword, dispelling the shadows and causing Ikiru to cover his cowled face even further. The flare dies down as quickly as it came. Singing Death rises majestically into the air and then hurtles towards you with fantastic speed, straight into your outstretched hands, where it seems to nestle as if welcoming you. The effect is instantaneous. You are filled with strength and well-being, gain 2 luck points, 2 skill points, and 4 stamina points, which I don't need, even if any of these bonuses takes you beyond your initial status. Okay, I do need them then. Right, okay, so well, that's quite a lot. So we get 2 luck, 2 skill, and 4 stamina. Wow, that's gonna. I'm glad I put my stamina all the way up now. Right, so that puts us 2 luck, so that puts me up to 13. Puts me up to 14 skill, and puts me up to 26 stamina because it took us beyond the thing. And we also have the initial values, and we also have Singing Death. Brilliant. Even if any of these bonuses take you beyond your initial status. You stand for a moment unable to act as raw vitality courses through you. The cowled figure gestures hurriedly and a shadow form floats up out of the pit. It begins to take shape before you. It is vaguely man-like, but with a horned head and massive talon claws. It is a shadow demon, only semi-corporeal, a creature from the nether regions. If your honor is 5 or more, turn to 274. If it is less than 5, turn to 174. Okay. What's our honor? Our honor is 3, so that's less than 5, so we're now going to turn to 174. You must fight the shadow demon. Singing Death does not seem affected by its insubstantiality. It will cut shadows as well as flesh. Shadow demon, skill 9, stamina 10. If you win, turn to 212. Okay. So, shadow demon. Shadow demon. Skill 9. Whoops. Stamina 10, wasn't it? And of course I get the first hit because of the fast draw malarkey, so that puts it down to 8. And then let's do this. So 9 plus 9 is 18. My skill is now 14. So that's 18 to 21. So 18 to 21. I like this Singing Death. Right. Okay, so that puts it down to 6. Okay, next. 9 plus 5 is 14. I get 18, so 14 to 18. Because my skill is 14 now. Puts it down to 4. 9 plus 7 is 16. I get 21, so 16 to 21. Puts it down to 2. Okay, 9 plus 11 is 20. I get 22. So 20 to 22. Puts it down to 0. And that's the end of the Shadow Demon, where we won, so we're turning to 212, which is boiling point in Fahrenheit, degrees Fahrenheit. Anyway, boiling point of water at sea level. Anyway, the Shadow Demon is dead, and Akiru hisses in rage and fear. Hurriedly, he raises his hands high and utters a strange cry. Shapes begin to rise up out of the pit and form around him. A phalanx of guardian shadows. A score surround him in moments. Will you step forward and throw Singing Death into the pit? Turn to 312. Will you wait to see what happens? Turn to 51. Will you walk around the pit and try to stride boldly through the shadowy forms? Turn to 298. Or will you throw Singing Death like a spear at Akiru? Turn to 63. Okay, we're going to walk around the pit and try to stride boldly through the shadowy forms and turn to 298. You skirt the pit and walk towards the throne, holding Singing Death in front of you. As you near it, the shadows fall back, unable to resist the power of the sword. Those that stray too close are instantly vaporized by its touch. Turn to 121. You are in front of the throne. Ikiru rises up like a shade. You stare into the cowl to see only shadowy nothingness, the face of evil. Ikiru points at you and bolts of dark energy leap from his fingers towards you. If your honor is 6 or more, turn to 189. If it is 5 or less, turn to 131. Okay. Our honor is less than 6 because it's 3 as we saw before, and there's what we have. So we're going to turn to 131. Now the bolts slam into you, simultaneously cursing, charring, and crippling you. You lose 1 skill, 1 luck, and 4 stamina points. Okay, 1 skill, 1 luck, and 4 stamina. So that puts me down to 13. Whoops, 13. 4 stamina takes me down to 22 again, and 1 luck takes me down to 12. Okay. If you are still alive, you reel back and Ikiru hisses with joy, but then you regain your senses and leap towards him, wielding Singing Death. Turn to 199. A sword of black steel, etched with glowing red runes, appears in Ikiru's shadowy grasp, and you both fall to combat, dark against light. Each time you hit him, deduct stamina as usual, but also test your luck. If you are lucky, turn to 235. If you are unlucky, just fight on. Each time Ikiru hits you, not only do you lose the normal stamina, but a powerful surge of force erupts from his black rune sword and threatens to overcome you. Roll 2 dice. If the result is more than your stamina, turn to 47. If it is not, fight on. Ikiru, skill 12, stamina 12. If you win, turn to 400. Okay. Okay, Ikiru, 12, 12. Off we go. Okay. Ikiru, 12, 12. Okay, I immediately get a hit in because of the fast draw malarkey. Right, so my skill is now 13, and every time I do some damage, I hurt him, I test my luck. Okay, so 12 against 13. So 12 plus 6 is 18. I get 20, so 18 to 20. Because my skill is 13. That puts them down to 8. Right, now we're testing our luck. So we need this luck roll to be less, well, we need this dice roll to be less than or equal to 12, which is pretty much a certain, well, it is certain, isn't it? So testing my luck is sort of pointless, but I'll do it anyway. Yeah, that was a 7, so less than or equal to 12. Right, okay. But we lose a luck point. Oh no. Anyway, if you're lucky, turn to 235. Yeah, 235. Singing Death cuts into Ikiru's side and he hisses with pain. A jagged bolt of lightning leaps from the sword blade and into Ikiru's cowled face. There is an almighty thunderclap. The black rune sword disappears and Ikiru is destroyed utterly. No vestige of his being remains in the chamber. Turn to 400. Okay, so that's the end of Ikiru. So that was nice and straightforward, wasn't it? So he's down to 0 because he's dead. Right, okay. Turn to 400. Here we are. The black robes that encase the Master of Shadows fall to the floor in a heap. Ikiru is no more. The walls of his dark hall begin to shudder and his throne to crumble. The pit falls in on itself. Great cracks appear in the floor. Desperately, you search for an entrance, but then part of a wall... Desperately, you search for an entrance, but then part of a wall falls away and clean sunlight passes in. Wincing from the glare, you run out to find yourself in the Shiosi Mountains. Behind you, the great black palace of strange alien design is crumbling away, the palace of Ikiru. You find yourself in the midst of a camp of Shikomi, but they are ignoring you. Some of them are staring in horrified fear at the palace. Others are running hither and thither in panic. You take this opportunity to leave quickly and you escape unmolested. A few days later, you are safely back in Kunichi, the capital, where the shogun holds a state banquet in your honor. With the return of Singing Death, his rule is assured, and the lords of Hachiman unite under his banner to repel the barbarian invaders. With Akiru slain, his army of Shikomi disperse, and the threat is lifted. An age of peace and prosperity lies ahead of you and the people of Hachiman. Hachiman. Anyway, yes, that's the end of that. That was the Eastern Path, which is slightly more difficult because we ended up with less honor. But ultimately, it was still pretty straightforward, apart from the fight with the Dione, which I must admit I was quite lucky on that. But yeah, that's that. So thanks for watching Sword of the Samurai. Let's play Sword of the Samurai. Next book will be what's next in the list according to this. Can't read it very well, but Sword of the Samurai. We've done Trial of Champions. I suppose next one is Robot Commando, number 22. Then we can do Masks of Mayhem. We've done Creature of Havoc already. Looking forward to Beneath Nightmare Castle. That's a good one. But yeah, we've done Sword of the Samurai. We've done Trial of Champions. So we're on to Robot Commando next, which is another futuristic one. And you know my thoughts on them, but I will do it. I might skip it and do Masks of Mayhem before I do that, or maybe even Beneath Nightmare Castle. But I will do Robot Commando eventually. I did eventually do Rebel Planet. That took me a while to get around to that one, but I did do Rebel Planet. Anyway, so thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed Sword of the Samurai by Mark Smith and Jamie Thomson. And next video will either be Robot Commando or Masks of Mayhem or Beneath Nightmare Castle. Thanks again and goodbye.